But what a fantastic event. This turnout is just amazing, and just looking at all the dignitaries up front here in uniform, which is amazing. You guys look awesome. Zip it up, buddy, zip it up.
How can I ride a bike if I can't zip these?
Okay, we need to have him sign a waiver, please. But it's just fantastic to see so many faces that have been a part of this project for a very, very long time. And we're really honored to have all you here with us today. I do have a long list of folks that I want to introduce, and I want to make sure everyone gets introduced because it's extremely important because there's so many people that played a part in this project. Really excited to have Governor Markell, his wife Carla, and his family, and his mother. If you could stand up, his mom is here, and she's his #1 fan. Now, I do want to state that this project would not have happened without the support from our federal delegation. And I know they're all upset that they are not here today. This project, it was about $23 million, and $18 million of it actually came from the federal government. So we're so happy that you guys are here representing Bonnie Wu from Senate. You got it. Come on, this is a great day. You better stand up and be proud. I don't see Andrew yet, but Courtney McGregor from Congressman Butt. Okay, we have Secretary of State, Jeff Bullock. Yay, Jeff. We have Hanifa Shabazz, President of the Wilmington City Council. Yay. And we have Linda Ratchford, the President of the City Newcastle Council, I believe somewhere. Yeah, she's got her gear on. She's ready to go, people. We have Marty Lesnar for the Council on Transportation. He's all geared up too. He's really sweaty. Didn't want to touch him. Where are you? Yeah, there he is. And you're here, and your wife's here with you, right? Hi, Lisa. Glad you're here. We have Tom Cook. Tommy Cook, where are you? I saw you all suited up. We have Megan McGlinchey. I know I saw you too. Yes, there's so many people here. It's so awesome. We have our friends from Wilmapco. Tigges, did I see you? There you are. Hi. Glad you're here with us. And then we really want to thank our host, John Herod, the manager of the DuPont Environmental Education. This is probably more people than you've had in here in a very long time, so thank you very much. And now I have to do a little bit of hazing right now because my ex-boss is here. Haha.
When was that?
Yeah. Shaylin Batt and actually Colin O'Meara, both of our previous cabinet secretaries of DelDOT and DENREC, who actually worked on this project as well. So really happy to have both of you here. And then my hazing is, we got it done when you couldn't get it done. To see your faces, so I could just say that, so I appreciate that. We actually have quite a few speakers, and I know you guys don't want to hear from me. This is just a fantastic project. A lot of people were involved, and I'm going to turn it over to our first speaker, which is the Mayor, Mike PURZYCKI. Hello.
Thank you, John. This is, I have to tell you, it's extraordinary. First of all, for me to come down here and have our board members here and Megan in this building, which it really is, it's the soul of the riverfront down here, and it's just such an exquisite place. Well, so when we talked about this, about what was called the industrial track before it's got its more famous name, I didn't quite get it. This thing's going to go down the rail line. It's like a rail line. It didn't quite get how great it was going to be. Well, I've watched it, and it's come together beautifully architecturally. It's been a great addition to this wonderful place. The other day, we had a travel writer from CNN come to town, and so I had a chance to get in a golf cart with Megan, Dan Zier, Robert Cheney, and this woman, and we took a golf cart all the way down to the bridge. Oh, I cannot tell you how magnificent it is. And that's only, kind of the first leg. And so, you've got a great treat in store. Everybody does. The runners, the bikers, everybody. And then it goes to Newcastle. Extraordinary. I'm thrilled because I know it's going to just bring so many more people down here to the riverfront and to enjoy this magnificent place. We have so many people to thank, so I'm not going to go through the whole big litany, but you know, everybody, there's so many of you who had skin in this game. You know, you really worked hard, and we're really grateful, not just for this project, which as I said, it's going to be fantastic, but this building and the Riverwalk itself and the bridge, which took forever. Megan and I, when we started this thing, we said, okay, well, at least we'll get one easy project. Refuge can't be that hard to do. Well, it took us forever. It was like 13 years before we finally did it. 2009. Russ Peterson was still here. It was just a joy that he got to see it, and so here we are, just adding to its glory. Thanks, all of you. Great to be with you. I really one job when I screwed it up. My responsibility is to introduce Matt Meyer, and it really kind of annoys me because you're in. I want you to know, true confessions. You're in Newcastle County now. The city's right over there.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You guys excited? There are a lot of people in this room who I know worked so hard to make this happen. My first message is wear your bike helmet at all times when you're on the trail. For those that don't know, about 13 years ago, we think it was in 2005, a group from Delaware Greenways and East Coast Greenway, led by someone named Bobby Britton, came to Jonathan Husband at Newcastle County and presented a vision for what then was called the Industrial Track Trail from the city, the old Newcastle, up to the riverfront. Jonathan Husband and his team with Tracy Searles, who's here at the county, worked very hard for years to build the trail from Old Newcastle up to where it was until today. A few years ago, the plan was presented to Secretary Meyer to build out the rest of the trail. As you can imagine, with the large dollar numbers, it was really just a vision, a dream. And it took leadership and courage of a lot of the people who are up here today. Of course, none more than Governor Markell. Give him a round of applause. I want to emphasize to you at the county, I've been in office 1 year, 8 months, and 3 days now. And my staff will tell you, every single day, we're talking about how we build more trails, more ways to travel off-road across this county. For us at the county, for our land use planning, today we are cutting the ribbon on the I-95 of Newcastle County. We are finding a way to get now from Wilmington to Newark in a safe, I know there are a few that ride now, but finding a way, and probably in this room, but we're finding ways to do it safely and securely. We're talking about Newport as the Manayunk of tomorrow. And key to that is a river trail that we're working on right now. This isn't a hypothetical pie in the sky. It's a dream we need your help with, but we just had meetings last week on just that. We're talking about connecting the city of Wilmington to Christiana Hospital, the largest private employer in the state. I see James Wilson nodding in back, head of Bike Delaware. When I was coming in today, I said, James, how do you feel? You've been planning for this for a long time. He said, this is the greatest day in the history of the world. And I realized that I think there are quite a few people in here who feel that way. And it's because, while it took the courage and leadership of a lot of people up here, it's really because of so many people in this room who helped develop the vision and the dream and insisted that elected officials like myself execute that dream. So please keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing with you because that's the future that this community needs. This is an incredible partnership. It will continue to be an incredible partnership between state, county, cities in Old Newcastle, Wilmington, Newark, obviously DRBA, the River Bay Authority that owns part of this trail, is going to help maintain it, right? Yeah. Right, good. Okay, just want to make sure. And of course, Delaware Greenways, East Coast Greenway, Bike Delaware, and countless other bike organizations that are helping to get people on the trail, because nothing will keep people safer on this trail than us making sure people are riding and walking this trail. One of our greatest partners in this effort is DNREC, and I'm very pleased to introduce the Secretary of DNREC, SHAWN GARVIN.
All right. So I'm going to go back to attempting to zip this up again so that I'm fully in uniform. One, I want to thank everybody for being here. This is really an incredible day. This is really forget it. This really is an incredible day and a great honor, and I very much appreciate being part of it. I appreciate Secretary Cohen's recognition of kind of when this actually got completed and done. But I do want to thank Secretary O'Mara and Secretary Small, who really laid the groundwork for this incredible day. Back in 2011, then Governor Markell had an initiative focusing on trails and pathways, looking to see how we can continue to expand, adding to this point 42 miles to what now is an existing 565 miles of trails and pathways that we have here in the state of Delaware. And what's incredibly important, and the county executive touched on a little bit, we don't get here without cooperation and partnership through many, many levels of government, of the council, of individual citizens, of friends groups, and it's just told by all of the folks and all that you represent that on a hot, sweltering day, you would pack this room, and many of you getting ready to head out and bike ride to celebrate this great accomplishment. DNREC is very proud to have been a part of this. We continue to look to cooperate and partner with all of you to create experiences in which we can get people out of their homes and out of their cars and into the environment. The idea of this is the more that we can connect to our environment, the more we appreciate and understand its value. And paths and trails like this really help us accomplish that goal. And I've had the great honor of being asked to serve in this position by our current governor, Governor CARNEY. And he's really taken the torch from Governor Markell and really focused on how do we make sure that our investment in our environment, our natural resources, our recreation, our public health, and our economy are seen as going hand in hand and not separate individual initiatives. And that today is just another example of the effort that we're investing in, that his leadership is providing. Governor Markell, I want to thank you for your leadership. The one thing that people need to walk away from this is not only have you been an advocate for this, but you're a user of this, a very proud user of our bikes and trails. And I'm very honored to be here, and I'm very honored to introduce our governor, my boss, John CARNEY.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Our Lieutenant Governor is working on a fitness program. I think we need to get our Secretary of Natural Resources, Environmental Control on that program. Oh, it's the zipper. Oh, I've heard that
Mechanical error. We'll get a foul front.
one. This is really, really, I'm sitting here kind of just blown away by all the people who are in this room celebrating this day, and I think paying tribute to our former governor. There's a combination. And I had some prepared things that I wanted to say, but I'm struck by a couple things. And building on what the mayor said, one of those things is the Governor and former Governor's Club is a very small club. There's only 2 of us in the room today. And there's June Peterson here representing a governor. Governor Tom Carper, I know, would be here if he could. And we went, all of those governors, myself included, spend a lot of time thinking about how we can make Delaware as good as it possibly can be. I mean, every day. I just spent the longest vacation I've had in, I don't know, 15 years. And I went through the first 10 days, I think, decompressing. And I spent the rest of the time thinking about how we can make Delaware really special. I was out visiting other places. I've been to Santa Fe. I've been to see my sister in California. Just got back from Nashville, Tennessee. And when I go to those places, I compare what they have to what we have. And I think about what it takes to compete, to outcompete those other places, to make Delaware better, more attractive, more appealing for our young people, so that they will want to come here. And it boils down to one thing to me. You gotta have cool stuff. You really do. And this is cool stuff. Really cool. It is the riverfront. And that leads me to the second point. You have to dream big. You have to think big. Secretary Bullock remembers when then Governor Carper went to former Governor Peterson and Art DuPont at the University of Delaware and said, we want you to put this group together to come up with a vision for this riverfront. Who would have thought? They came up with a vision. And everybody that I knew said, you gotta be crazy. We can't do any of that. Mike, am I right? Mike said, we could never get people living on the riverfront. Never. We got 1,500 or so people. We might be able to get an employer or 2. We got over 10,000 people working down here, Madam Council President. We couldn't put together a wildlife refuge like this. It's too hard. We got it. They didn't envision a bike trail from the riverfront to Old Newcastle. But today, we're going to cut the ribbon. And we're going to cut the ribbon because Governor Markell and all of you dreamt big, thought big. How can we bring cool stuff to Delaware? And that's what we're doing today. I'm not going to get into this blame or credit stuff. When you're governor, you get blamed for stuff and you get credit for stuff that you don't deserve. So let's just say you don't want to get into that. We are all in this together. We are all in this together. We stand on the shoulders of the people that came before us, and we pass on to the people that come after us. We're here for a short period of time, however period that is. And finally, none of this happens without money and without the support of the legislature. The governor comes up with a big dream in this case. And by the way, how many governors get recognized like this while they're still alive? Seriously. I mean, really? Usually they name a bridge after you, or they name a school after you, but you're long dead. Not only are we going to name this after him, he's well alive, but he can ride his bike on it. I mentioned the Governors and Former Governors Club, and I want to close with this. We're paying tribute, we're recognizing a really special guy. Carla's here, Michael. He and I know one another at a level that's deeper than most, I think. He's been incredibly present and supportive of me and all the things that I've had to do in carrying on and standing on top of the work that he has done. I want to thank him for that, and thank him for his friendship, thank him for dreaming big, for creating this trail with all of you, everybody in this room, the trails, the cycling, all this stuff. This is cool stuff for us and for the people who come and will try to bring to our state. And Governor Jack Markell was the leader that made it happen. And we're just so thankful for that. God bless you. I mentioned that none of this gets done without legislative support, and I know one of the biggest supporters of cycling and trails and the governor's dream is the majority leader in the House, Representative Val Longhurst.
I'm a little shorter, so let me move this down. First of all, I want to congratulate DENREC, DELDOT for the awesome job that you did, but I also want to give special recognition to our Secretary, Jen Cohen, and Colin O'Meara. Could you stand up for 1 second? The reason that I point that out today is because this vision of making the trail named after Governor Markell is on behalf of these two people for extraordinary efforts to get this done. And Jen, you did an amazing job with the jerseys, the jam jerseys. As we mentioned earlier, we talked about people that helped out in getting this funded, and I would like to acknowledge my General Assembly members that are here. First of all, Senator Nancy Cook, former Nancy Cook, where are you? I know you're around here somewhere. There she is. And all you in the biking industry know Senator Sokola. Please stand up. And my advocates in the House, Representative Earl Jakes, Representative Debbie Hudson, and a former MS Bike to the Bay, Representative Ozinski. So I'd like to start off by saying 10 years ago, I had the honor of serving with Governor then Jack Markell. I got to serve 8 years with him, good, bad, or indifferent. But when Jack came into office, he had a vision. He had a path. He had a direction he wanted to go. And today symbolizes that direction. But during his time in office, bike trails were one of his #1 priorities. And when there wasn't a lot of money in the budget, he found a way to make it happen because he saw, like Governor CARNEY said, he saw the bigger picture. And sometimes you get criticized on many levels about the money that's getting spent, hey Chris, that gets spent, is he knew that he had a vision and he had to get it done. And he did. How many miles? 564 miles of bike trails here in the state of Delaware? 565. Okay. That's amazing, but we did it, and he did it. I could tell you over the last 8 years, I've rode several miles with Governor Markell. We've done MS Bike to the Bay. We actually were the first ones over the bridge at the St. George's Bridge when it opened up, and I'm sure some of you bikers were here for that. We've done the Delaware City to Newcastle Trail. We did the MS Bike to the Bay. And one of my favorites is when we get to ride just the two of us, and we've done several miles just the two of us, and it's nice to have his detail because they stop all the traffic, that you're a cyclist, you know what it's like that you don't have to stop for a stop sign. But we do find that, I enjoyed those conversations that we had. Governor CARNEY, we've only done about 7 miles, so you have a lot more work to be done. So we need to give you a different bike because you have a mountain bike, not a road bike. And we'll make it a lot easier. But as most of you know, Jack has been, if I can call you Jack, I'm going to call you Jack because you're not the governor anymore. Jack has played an intricate part in making sure that these pathways get done. And it's because he believes in the lifestyle. He believes in making sure that we have a healthy Delaware. And he's done that with such great leadership. And I just, for somebody who cycles a lot, like Dave Sokola and myself, it's nice to have somebody who champions bike paths and safety on the roads because even with James Wilson has played an intricate part in passing legislation to make the roads safer. And I think we have more shoulders on the road because of James and because of Governor Carney and because of our Colin O'Meara. It's a lot safer on the roads because of him. But he had a vision and he had a path, so it's only fitting that today that we get to name this bike trail after Jack A. Markell. And I have to tell you, he texted me the other day and he says, "Are you coming to the ribbon cutting? Are you coming to the ribbon cutting of the trail opening?" And I said, "No, I'm coming to the Jack A. Markell ribbon cutting opening." So I'm going to have to ask Carla and Michael to make sure that whenever he says he wants to go on the bike trail, he calls it the Jack A. Markell bike trail, because that's what it's called. He's got to get it in his head. But you know, Jack is a very humble person, and he doesn't take credit for a lot of things. I'm sure he'll get up here and he'll thank everybody in this room for making this happen. But it takes the leadership of a governor to make it happen. And this pathway deserves to be named after you. And every time I ride it, I'll think of the great 8 years that we had together and what you've done for the state of Delaware, what you did for the children that are out there biking, and just making Delaware a healthier state. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Carla whispered to me, she says, "You better not go on too long." And I just want to make sure that does not count against my time. So first of all, you maybe wondered why I'm dressed like this. And because I do have my bright jersey on underneath, I'm all ready to go. And about, 10, 12 years ago, I was getting ready for a re-election state treasurer's campaign, and I told the guy who was doing all my TV commercials that I was, going for a ride. He said, "You can do whatever you want. There's just one rule, and that is no spandex." So you combine that with the fact that, and if I had known that the Governor Carney was going to be wearing this jersey, it would have doubled my commitment that I should dress like this, because I just can't suck in my stomach for this long, and he doesn't have to. So thank you, first of all, Val, for the introduction. I'll come back to you in a second. And you're right, I do want to start by thanking a lot of people, because there are really so many people to thank. First, my family. So Carla is here, as is Michael. Michael is moving tomorrow. He actually delayed his trip by a day. He's moving to Seattle. He's starting to work. He just graduated from college. We are going to miss him terribly. And he's become a cyclist. He is going to commute sometimes. He's got about a 13, 15-mile commute out in Seattle to work. He and I did it about 6 weeks ago, and he left me huffing and puffing so badly. But I'm so glad that the two of you are here, so thank you. My mom is here, as Jen said, so thank you. It was very nice of you to lead that applause, but if you knew that it was her cell phone that went off earlier, maybe you wouldn't have done that. So the rest of us are all looking at each other. But Mom, thank you. It is great to have you here as well. I also want to introduce Rita McWhorter, who is Carla's stepmom, and it's really wonderful that you are here as well. I want to thank Governor Carney, not only for the really, really nice words, but more importantly for being a great governor. It is a really hard job. I think you're doing an awesome job. I told you on your very first day that we all, including me, were rooting for you to be the best governor that Delaware's ever had. And I think you were doing really an incredible job. And I think you've got this, the ability, as you mentioned, to think, to dream big dreams, to think big. But also to get things done. And that is an unusual combination. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody for being a great governor. So. The men and women of DelDOT and DENREC, can you please raise your hands? We are, you guys. You have done an unbelievable job, from conceiving of this to designing this to building it. But these guys, between Shaylin and Jen and Colin and Dave Small, They were committed. And I think of it, there's an analogous situation in Sussex County. Many of you have been on the Gordon's Pond Trail, which is this absolutely beautiful bike trail. And Colin said to me, I don't know, 2010 or something, he said, we have papers going back to like the early 70s about building the Gordon's Pond Trail. And the question now is like not why can't we do it? The question is what's it gonna take to get it done? And these two guys, with Jen and with Dave Small, we talked about this and all the other trails that Sean mentioned, over and over and over again. And it was a fantastic, it was great teamwork between you. There was never sort of, it's Del Dot, it's DENREC, it's their job, it's their job. If there was that, you didn't show it to me. But this is a really complicated project, and it's both, Shallon's working in D.C., Colin and running an important National Transportation Association. Colin's running the National Wildlife Federation, so it's great of both of you to come back. And I do want you to know how much I appreciate you, so thank you. As I mentioned, I have so many members of our team who are here, and it's so wonderful to see all of you. I'm not going to mention everybody by name, but we have a lot of cabinet, members of the cabinet, members of the staff. It's really fantastic to see all of you. Thank you for coming back. I've got 3 members of the Executive Protection Unit. As Governor CARNEY knows, you develop a really special relationship with these guys. Rob Priscilla is now the Chief of Police in Seaford. They're very lucky to have him. Kevin Mack, who worked at the very beginning, and Henry Speed, who continues to work on Governor Carney's detail. We did a lot of cycling together. Henry is a very good cyclist. And there were many, many times, I guess this is something he only does for governors, is we'd be going up like the Reedy Point Bridge, and all of a sudden I would feel a big hand on my back and pushing me up the hill. But to my entire team, thank you so much for being back. Val introduced the legislators, and the last time Val and I were together in this room was when we sort of did the groundbreaking, I think. It does help so much to have these incredible advocates, Val, and thank you for all that you did. I'm surprised you asked like what you could call me, because you never really asked what you could call me when I was here. But that's a story for a different time. She was never so happy as when I was yelling at her, and she'd hang up the phone and she would go tell the Speaker of the House. She said, "Oh, I got him this time." But to you and to Representatives Osinski and Hudson and Jakes, thank you, and Carol, thanks for being here. And Senator Sokola, my cycling buddy, who rode with me last year from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, all the way back to Rehoboth Beach. We had a great time on the trail. The one ride, Val, that you did not mention is the one that the 3 of us did, and Henry was on that ride. It was June 30th. I started at my house, and half an hour later I picked up Dave at the Hack, and then we rode down, picked you up near your house. And then we rode on Route 9 on June 30th. And Sean, you know what Route 9 around Bombay Hook can be like on June 30th? Those flies. So Henry, who was riding, I've never seen so much balance. He was trying to get the flies out of his shorts, and his bike ended up going like this. He stayed upright, as every good EPU would do, but that was quite a ride. To the other elected officials from all levels of government, thank you for being here, and thanks for your support in making this happen. To the congressional delegation, the Senator Carper and Congresswoman Blunt Rochester were mentioned. Senator Coons did text me earlier today. He said, "I wish I could be there, but I've got the hearing for Kavanaugh." I have a feeling he would much rather be here. And there's one other group that I do want to mention, and I want to mention in particular Marty Lesner. And Marty's here with his wife, Lisa. And with them, I'll mention all of the amazing advocates. James was mentioned, and Gary and the Greenways people. We have this incredible advocacy community in Delaware. I point out Marty in particular because I didn't know about all the sort of the previous. I'd never heard of the industrial tract property. And I put Marty on the Council of Transportation, I think
Shailen complained about that plenty. Because Marty has a way of making himself, heard. But Marty was really the one who told me what this could all be about. And so, Marty, your advocacy, working with all of the other amazing advocates in the state, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. And to all the advocates, I'll tell you, when you all show up in Legislative Hall, legislators listen. And so, thank you very much for being as forceful as you have been. That's almost as much time as Carla has given me. Yeah, she's given me that look. So I'll say this. I mean, I really do think this is an incredible win-win-win. When you have an opportunity to make the environment cleaner, to improve people's health, and to improve economic development, it's like, how can you say no? And we live in a world, Governor knows and the mayor knows, we're talking to businesses all the time about locating here, and Matt the same thing. And it's all about talent. Every business is competing these days based on where they can hire the best talent, and talented people want to work in places where they want to live, and they want to do, as the governor so eloquently put it, they want to do cool stuff. And I really do believe that we're going to, and we see the same thing, by the way, at the beach. I mean, I've met plenty of people who have decided to buy homes in Lewis or Rehoboth because of the trails down there. And I think this is going to be great. And I would also say, I really do believe that the investments that we make are a signal to the future generation of what they will look back long after we're gone, and they will make some assumptions based on the investments that we've made about what it is that we value. When we invest in early childhood education, they learn something from that. When we invest in K-12 and in higher ed and workforce development, they learn something from that. When we invest in improving our criminal justice system, they learn something from that. And when we invest in physical infrastructure like this, which is about connecting our communities, giving people a chance to get outside, to enjoy themselves, to commute, they learn something from that. And I really do believe that they'll look back, and they're not going to know who we were, but they're going to know back in 2018 era, there were people who were thinking about the future, and that's what all of you have done, and I'm just so grateful to be associated with this in a small way. So with that, I will be taking most of my clothes off. And which is something I've never said in front of my mother before.
We have one more surprise before you do that, Governor. Jeff Nisgoda, can you and Anthony come here, please?
Jeff and Anthony,
yes.
You guys have been like unbelievable. And Anthony has been the cycling guy within DelDOT for as long as I know. And was Jeff the project manager for this?
Yes.
And Jeff, you did a phenomenal job.
And they both had hair when they started.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
But yes, please, round of applause for these guys. I know it wasn't easy. I will tell you that anything that could happen on a project happened on this project, but these guys just pushed through and made it happen. So I want you two to help me unveil the last surprise that we have. Okay, so this is going to be an audience participation. You guys up to that? Yeah? No, I'm going to say let's, and then you guys say jam, okay? I'm channeling Senator Carper right now. All right, let's. Jam! Let's. Jam! Let's. Jam! So these will be all. Okay, now we're going to go outside and cut the ribbon, and we'll do that really quick.
2, 1.
know, it takes me right to the